Howdy, y'all. Hope you guys are having a good day so far. Morning, evening, night, wherever you may be. Um, so, for this video, first off, welcome back to this world. Um, didn't actually think I was going to, do any more videos in this world. If you remember in the 2-week phase video that I discussed, I said, I don't think I'll make any videos on this. Well, lo and behold, I am. And not really there's like a reason by any means, but more so I wanted to just do more of a talking video, and I could have done parkour like I've wanted, but I also need to get some work done on the server, and so I decided, you know what, I'll kill two birds with one stone, why not? So, anyways, you can enjoy the work that's been done on the server while I talk to you all about something rather interesting. So, a few videos ago, I talked about, when you're in college, make sure you have a good time, right? Make sure you do things, make sure you have a good time, all that good jazz. But I also said, make sure you keep your studies up and all that. The of course, the typical, be good, be whatever. But also, I wanted to sort of discuss how, for me, like why that sort of resonates so much with something I wanted to discuss. Because we really need to organize this. Because specifically related to making sure you have fun, right? So I transferred colleges. I was originally at a smaller university, about 4,000 kids, very small university, and I thought, I'm okay with this. This is what I want. I want to be able to be more interactive with my professors, and I wasn't incorrect. I did want that. I very much did want that. However, there's something that is a little bit more specific related to that. And that is, I wanted to have more opportunity, to do more things. And the problem is, I never really got that when I was at that smaller university. I wanted to be involved in other things, whether that be Greek life or that be clubs or just, more class opportunity even when it came down to it sometimes. I wanted to do more of that. Well, a problem was I didn't really get that opportunity at a school with 3,000 odd kids. I needed literally more people just so I could do more things, and that was something that was not very likely to happen. That's what it comes down to. It's not very likely to happen, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but that was the truth. Is I literally didn't have much of an opportunity to do much because the school was so tiny, and so I ended up transferring. And the reason I want to bring this up is because transferring universities is actually relatively common for people. Apparently, transferring is actually one of the more common things that people do in their college career, at least, once, right? If they start, especially at like a smaller university, or they start at like a really, really big university if they're out of state. And that out of state thing is what in the world? That out of state thing is really important because when you're out of state, you obviously you have more of an opportunity to go to different places and do different things, and so transferring becomes something that you might actually discuss relatively frequently with your parents, your guardian, or even just yourself, right? And so transferring was something that I brought up because I wanted to do more things. I wanted to have more fun. I wanted to, basically have the opportunity to do more things, which I didn't really get when I was at the smaller institution. And so I went through a very long process of deciding whether or not I should transfer. Well, I ended up transferring to a school literally 10 times the size, now at a school of about 40,000 kids. And it was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. But it has drawbacks, and that is kind of what this video is about, is I want to discuss what you're really signing up for when you transfer schools, which is not typically discussed when people talk about transferring. It's typically not really discussed about, oh, well, what does that actually mean? Well, a few things. One, be prepared to stay for like an extra year. I mean, that's, unless you're transferring at like as a first year student, be prepared to probably stay an extra year, which is not something that people typically discuss when you're talking about transferring universities, because it's not something you really think about. Well, you should. Transferring is incredibly difficult to deal with when you don't realize that you might have to spend more money to basically be at an institution. And I mean, anyone who's ever been in college or anything, you're well aware college is not cheap. And so having to spend another semester, another year, that's a large amount of money that you are now going to have to spend to keep yourself, in the scene. And that's always not the easiest thing for people. So it's something that I wanted to go ahead and bring to y'all's attention, because it is something that not many people always think about when it comes to transferring. And I want to tell you both the pros and the cons, right? The pros are, if you want to transfer, you should. That is the first thing I'll say. If you want to transfer. I mean, that is first and foremost what I'm going to tell you to do. If you want to transfer, just freaking do it. You truly don't understand the power that transferring has. You will be incredibly happy you did it if it's something you want to do. However, transferring is not always what people want to do. So if you're, maybe worried about transferring, worried maybe it's not for you, don't do it. Transferring is not something you should just say, oh, well, I want to do, and then do. It's something that you do need to think about, which unfortunately not all the time people do, and they'll just sort of say, oh, well, I want to transfer. They transfer, and it's like, oh, well, now I'm more miserable than where I was in the first place. So transferring is something that you need to discuss with yourself. But if it's something you want to do, then it's something that you may be incredibly happy with the decision you made. And that is the good thing, right? If you do want to transfer, then you may be making one of the best decisions that you've ever made. But it is a decision you need to discuss, and it's something that you need to really worry about. Do you know what you're getting yourself into? Is your major transferable? How many credits are you going to be able to transfer over? There's a lot of technicalities that, as a transfer student, you need to be aware of so that you don't get yourself screwed when you do transfer. I unfortunately have dealt with some issues transferring institutions that have not been easy to deal with. In fact, some of them have made me think about my transfer decision and think maybe this wasn't the best idea. Now, I don't regret transferring, but there have been times where I'm like, okay, this was just such a bad decision, because it was more trouble than it was worth. But the biggest thing is, when you think about transferring, just think about why you want to do it. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your decision, right? But it's, why do you want to do it? What does another school... Don't even think about what another school offers, right? Think about why you want to do it, and then go from there, right? Then it's like, oh, well, I want to transfer because I want a university that has Greek life. Okay, well, let's start with, okay, is that the only reason? Right? Okay, cool. Well, let's look at universities that have Greek life, right? Or is there a way for you to start Greek life on your campus, right? Sort of be a founding, member in a way of that kind of thing. Is that something that you can do? If it is, well, maybe you don't need to transfer, right? There should be multiple reasons for someone to want to transfer. and it's a process that you should think about. You shouldn't just say, oh well, I want to do this because I want to. Now, college is a big sort of feeling thing. Like if you feel like you should transfer, then you probably should transfer. But it's just something to keep in mind. And I wanted to kind of give my thoughts on it as someone who has transferred. Who knows? I might make a more in-depth video another day related to this because it was something that made a big change in my life. But you know, we'll see as we cross that bridge. But anyways, that's my quick run and gun on transferring. I know not many people are in that situation, but for those of you that maybe come across this video and are in that situation, hopefully this helped out. Otherwise, I will see y'all in the next one. Have a good rest of your day, and see y'all next time.